noisy world. And you may be wondering, yeah, so what does this have to do with building my business? What does it have to do with being successful? Well, I invite you to stay listening to this episode of Make It Click. And you're going to find out how delving into the sounds around you and changing what goes into your body, into your ears, into your brain can help you. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it can help you do. Hi, I'm Christine Rothdeutsch, and I'm host of Make It Click. And my guest today is Joanna Grace. She is a sound healer and a music teacher. Welcome to the show, Joanna.
Thank you for having me here.
So, Joanna, um, you know, this show is to help business owners in their business. As I said in my introduction, people are like, yeah, and what does sound have to do with business? And I think this is one of those areas that isn't given enough attention to. We want to just learn the next great marketing tactic, learn the tools, or where can I speak and whatnot. We don't realize all that the sounds coming into us on a daily basis and saying, maybe that's causing my stress. Um, I'm wondering, like, can you speak a little bit to, the difference between, I guess, noise and sounds that can benefit us?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, I just want to share that what you think of as noise or what you think of as sound could be very different than the person next to you. So someone might not even notice that there's traffic going by the window. Somebody else could be quite agitated by that, either consciously or unconsciously, and not be able to express why they're feeling in that moment a little bit tight or tense. We all have somewhat different responses to sound. So what I invite you to think about is, what are the sounds that you first hear in the morning? First thing. So for me, I hear an alarm clock. Now, I can program my phone to make a certain sound. And there's certain sounds I've rejected because I think they're too, they're just too like, oh, la, la, wake up. No, I actually prefer to have something that jolts me awake. But someone else who's here with us right now might say, oh no, I can't wake up like that. I need to use my Fitbit that gradually vibrates and wakes me up so that I'm not startled, so that I feel well rested, these kinds of things. So it's really my intent in sharing about sound today is not to tell you what to do or not to do. It's really an invitation to just notice, what sounds are you having in your environment? And if they're not pleasant to you, what action can you take to change those things? So I could have a different type of alarm clock. If I'm listening to radio in the morning and I'm stressed out about the news, I could choose to not listen to the news until later in the day, when I've had my breakfast, when I've had my coffee, or whatever it is that, gets you awake. And other people get really excited by the news. They're like, oh, I really want to know what's going on. This means I can talk to someone at the office about this, or I can talk to my neighbor about this, or I can, right? And so if that is, just notice, like, what are you absorbing into your body with sound? And is that serving to you or not? And if you think it might not be, then it would be a great experience to think about what kind of sounds, music, background music that you could put on instead that could calm your nervous system and get you prepared for what you're focusing on during the day.
Yeah, I like that you said, and asking yourself, does it serve you? Um, I just think of, okay, so there's somebody that lives underneath this roof that constantly has to have something going, the TV, music, no matter where they're at and everything. And it just drives me. It's like, what is wrong with the quiet? And as much as, like you say, maybe some people wake up and, oh, I really want to watch the news, I'm thinking, but when we really take a good look at ourselves, when we notice how we're feeling about it, I'm wondering if that is, can really tell us, wow, oh, I thought it was serving me. Ooh, maybe it's not. And I said, people that need noise all the time, I think they're doing themselves a disservice, because they're not taking the time to see, I'm wondering if I'd feel differently if I allowed myself to, well, even change whatever that sound is that's coming in. Um, but yeah, I'm one, I need quiet occasionally. I need calm music. So I did find that classical music is it that does help you think better. I was told about that years ago from a music therapist. I'm like, what? And I do use classical music to help think better. And then I started to think, well, geez, the whole world needs to know this. But as you're saying, it doesn't resonate with everybody the same way.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Um,
Right. So, um, sound can be used to like release unwanted emotions. So someone might actually choose to listen to a piece of music that's a bit abrasive or has a really, really strong beat as a way to resonate with some difficult emotions that they may be feeling. I know that when I'm upset about something, I can't just listen to a beautiful piece of classical music. That's too far away from where I'm feeling. If I'm down here, I
mhm.
need to gradually get myself up to that point where I can listen to something calming and actually feel calm. So at first, there's really a release. So if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, you might not want to listen to something that's lovely and easy listening or what have you. You might want to listen to something doom, 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 and kind of feel into that with your emotions. And then when you feel like that has an opportunity to shift, you can choose something else. So this is why, music just really appeals to, I believe, so many people and cultures all over the world. We
Mm,
use music to celebrate. We use music for sorrow. We use music for funerals. We use music to, express creatively. To like go to a large concert hall, to have music in a living room, someone playing guitar and singing, or someone playing the piano. There's music in the dollar store. There's music every, lots of places. People even driving by with their windows down. Now it's summer, so I hear this a lot. I hear different people's music. I'm like, oh, that's a cool song. I can't quite Shazam it in time. And then other songs, I'm like, oh, not my style, not my style. Why is it so loud? But to recognize that we are unique vibratory beings. We are in a vibration that is unique to us, and
mm,
sometimes we come into harmony with others, and sometimes we clash with others. And it's kind of like that when we listen to music as well. Sometimes we don't even notice it's there, and other
mm.
times it's like, oh gosh, I really wish someone would turn that off. Or I wish I could change it to this instead. I wonder if they'll notice, that kind of thing. So I think it's important to, especially with stress and overwhelm, there can also be this sound of the inner voice of like, oh, I should have done this, or oh, I can't believe this happened. How can we speak more nicely to ourselves and recognize what with the voice in our own head as well? That sound that's happening a lot of the day. Um,
Mm.
what I'm saying to myself right now as I'm speaking is, is this what I want to be saying right now? So even right now, there's a voice in my head. Does this make sense? Is this how I want to convey myself to the audience? And the ways that we can be more kind and loving to ourselves in our own heads are also important for our own health and wellness throughout the day as we run our businesses, as we make decisions. How can we get ourselves to that calm point, with the sound of our voice as well as external sounds that we can control. Yeah.
So where do we start in trying to figure if we determine that this sound or what the sounds I'm getting throughout the day, oh, they're causing me stress. Where do I begin to try to figure out what's going to calm me? Is it just turning the dial on the radio? It's like, no, no, I don't like that one. No, that doesn't sound good to me. Like, how do we begin to find what feels good to us?
Sure, sure. I have a couple ideas for you and the audience as well. How do we find the sounds that will feel good to us? I mean, first of all, a lot of us have the ability to take a deep breath and to exhale. A lot of cultures use this kind of a sound as a way to express some relief, a kind of a sigh. right?
Mm.
Oh, wow, glad that worked out. And even just taking a moment to inhale and exhale, whether or not you make a sound, just inhale and exhale and just see how long you can last with that exhale. This can also be very calming. It has nothing to do with any external stimuli that may or may not be there. It's really internal. It's just
Mm.
tapping into yourself, giving yourself permission to be centered with yourself,
Mm.
and taking that breath and sighing if you need to. Ah, or you want to, ah, kind of is fun. Ah. And that's one way.
Mm.
I do have another way. So true story. I was at the dentist this morning getting my teeth all ready for this podcast. And the sounds of these dental tools are really not my thing.
Mm.
They sound buzzy, they sound not only do they sound abrasive, they can feel quite abrasive and all this kind of thing. So what I do, um, at the dentist is I start to imagine, well, what could this sound be instead? I'm really just using my imagination to, well, this, I could just go down the story hole of, oh, this is so unpleasant. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, what if I have a cavity? Oh, what about this? I could go there. And instead I choose, wow, it sounds like water splashing. Oh, what if I were sitting at a cottage and I could watch people water skiing in the distance? Oh, that would be fun. Oh, what if there were kids playing in the outdoor faucet sprinkler? What would that be like? That kind of sounds like what's happening in my mouth. So
Mm.
I'm using intentional creative visualization to connect with sounds in a more harmonious way so that I don't have more stress and negativity because of the sounds that are part of the dentist experience.
Mm. Wow. Oh, that's a great tip for the audience. Now, I mean, now I don't even. Now I'm going to be thinking about the dentist the rest of the day. Jeez. So now you also, Joanna, you say that you can use sounds to re-energize
Mhm.
yourself. Now, people might be thinking, well, that's called a nap. But how? What do you? How does sound re-energize the body? And does it take long? Is it like taking a nap? Or do you have some short things? Tell us more about that.
Sure, sure. It depends. I mean, for some people that are feeling, pretty much like themselves right now, without too much stress, without too much overwhelm, then a quick way to re-energize yourself is to just start laughing. If you're in a place where you can do that appropriately, or watch a short little video on social media that's funny, or a comedian, you can get yourself laughing. It's a great way to get out of the business decision making that can really be encompassing the whole day for entrepreneurs. Oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. And can you take a few moments to find something funny to laugh about? And if you feel like you're not really in that space yet, like perhaps if the emotions are too difficult, or something really challenging has just happened, then just consider seeing how you can release that first with some sound, maybe some doom, doom, doom sounds, or some music that you actually don't like. Listen to that for a while, and
Mm.
then when you turn it off, you might actually start to feel better. So there's lots of tricks that I can share. It's really really all about being intentional about, can you use sound in a quick way to help shift emotions? And I do believe that sound can be used to
Mm.
shift difficult emotions and create more harmony with ourselves and with others.
Yeah, I like that about the laughing. You just when you think about just hearing laughter, you tend to get energized just hearing it, even if you're not the one actively participating in that. And I think we all need to laugh more, no matter where we're at. What the heck? It's like let's do that. Now we were talking. Okay, so sounds and music can help with stress. You also say it can help reduce a lot of other things too, from chronic pain,
Mhm.
insomnia, anxiety. How? I would imagine this is it's not an instant fix for these things. I would imagine it's something that takes time to work through. But pain, how would sound be able to help someone who has chronic pain?
Sure, sure. So I just want to say that sound can help with chronic pain. It may not work in everybody's
Hmm.
situation. In my belief system, I believe that emotions can be lodged in our bodies. So I'm a survivor of trauma, and I believe that those emotions have been stored in my body. I have been diagnosed with 4 chronic illnesses and have worked through those symptoms and challenges over many years so that I do not have, any visible symptoms of these issues. And I do believe it's really about personal growth and how you choose to um, deal with trauma. There is, I'm getting into some deeper topics here, but there's talk therapy, which can be very, very helpful for a lot of people, and I have certainly used that for myself. I also really believe deeply in somatic therapies, in sound healing, and other types of healing where you don't have to talk through the problems, that there's it that that's connecting with your body and with your emotions in a way that's like very non-invasive, because sometimes talk therapy can re-trigger
Hmm.
people to get into story and into the pain of what happened to them. Oh, this happened to me. This happened to me, and it actually is not serving them well. Like they think they may be taking the right step, but it actually makes them feel worse. And for other people, talk therapy is the best thing ever. So I just want to respect that people do
Hmm.
have different responses to talk therapy. But sound healing is very non-invasive. So it's really a matter, like in the sessions that I offer, it's an invitation for people to mm, somewhat surrender to their higher power or to their higher inner self, to who they know they can be and have been in the past. And with that, they can absorb sounds in a way that connects with the difficult emotions and then invites a shift to happen. So it's a very beautiful experience where a client doesn't have to share anything verbally if they don't want to. And it's really just, let's feel into this. Let's create some sound. Let's explore what's shifting and changing. And the results are really, really beautiful. I just feel so grateful to work with clients that are willing to be vulnerable in that way with me, to just really sit and take in sound and even make sound with me. It's a beautiful experience.
Wow, that's awesome to hear that. It's so many alternatives out there. I hope that our audience has liked what they've heard today and gained some knowledge about this area to help them with their stress, anxiety, whatever is going on. So, Joanna, if our audience has liked what they heard today, how can they get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is to go to my website, which is soundhealingenergy.ca for Canada. I am in Toronto. And you can scroll down. There's a little place, a little teeny place, you got to look for it, to get a free audio, which is Calm Your Mind in 5 minutes. I suggest you start there and listen to that. Take 5 minutes, turn off your devices, just listen to that for 5 minutes and see if it speaks to you, see if it matters to you what you're hearing. If you prefer to have a conversation with me, there's a way to book a 30-minute free call with me. I'd be happy to discuss your situation and see if sound healing might be helpful for you.
Well, again, yeah, I really, this has been a very enlightening conversation for me because it's an area I have never even thought about. I mean, as I look back, it's like, well, I feel better when I'm listening to XYZ versus this thing. It's like, oh, well, this, makes sense now. But So before we go, though, Joanna, I do want to ask you one last question, and that is about you and your business as a sound healer, as a music teacher. And I'm wondering what comes to mind if I ask you, something that made it click for you in your business, something that maybe you learned as a business owner. We all know when we come into these things from having been at a job or not doing, not being a business owner, it's so different. Is there something that comes to mind that you can say, oh my goodness, this is what has helped make it click for me in my business?
Hmm. There's kind of two things that are coming up. Um, First thing is really trusting myself. And, that's been a process, and I still sometimes doubt myself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I focusing on the right thing? Sound has helped me trust myself more, by sitting with myself and being with sounds that are comfortable for me, by making sounds. I feel more connected to higher vibrational aspects of myself rather than feeling a victim of circumstance. So, trusting myself and making sound has been helpful. I also would say that, I look at my clients as equal collaborators. There was definitely a shift at some point in my career where I stopped being so much agenda focused on, oh, I know what's going to help this person. I'm going to
Mhm.
go through this checklist, and these are all the things that I do for somebody, or these are all the ways I can help somebody. And I've really shifted completely out of that, and realized that I have a lot of tools in my toolkit. There's a lot of ways I can help people, and what's most important is to recognize that each person that comes to work with me is a unique person who has unique life experiences, unique challenges. They have different priorities than what mine are. They have, different personalities than mine. And that it's really the most respectful way for me to work with people is to realize that they are equal collaborators with me.
Mm.
That together, if I understand them and they understand me, we can create something together that's of the greatest value.
Well, both of those tips are very good ideas. Thank you so much for that, Joanna, and thank you for all this information about using sound to help us to de-stress and actually have successful businesses and lives, of course. Thank you so much, Joanna, for being on Make It Click today.